Hello. It's so great to be with you for episode 21. I actually have a planned talk today, and it came about because my thoughts went to the Course in Miracles lesson. My mind holds only what I think with God. And actually, that comes up so many times because it's in many of the review lessons, as well as in the original lessons before the review. And if you've been with me at all during my journey with ACIM Gather, or in our classes with Dove, or in my glimpses of awakening teachings, you know that I'm a big fan of the non-dual path, and I've been a lifelong participant, student, and teacher of Course in Miracles. Lifelong because it's just about half my life that I've been a Course in Miracles person. Non-duality came about 10 years after A Course in Miracles. I'm not sure exactly what date, but I think it was about late 80s that I came to A Course in Miracles. And it was 1995 when I was exposed to pure non-duality in India. And when I say pure, certain parts of non-duality are emphasized and spoken of clearly, where here, there, I would say, at least it's my impression, that certain things are de-emphasized for the Western, especially US population, because they're much less popular. So it's not emphasized that there is no person. It's not emphasized that there is no free choice. Now, Course in Miracles says both. Course in Miracles says choose again. And it also says the script was written. And that's because, as I've said many times, A Course in Miracles is a progressive path. And today I want to list some of what I would say are the progressions. I've never heard anybody say it this way. And so you might put it together a different way. And it's not important exactly what the steps are. We don't need to argue about, is it this or is it that? Most importantly, we would all agree that there are steps. It's not stated as steps, but here's what I notice. And then we'll come back to what started me on this, because when I thought this morning, my mind holds only what I think with God. Here we are in January, and many people are starting the lessons all over, which I did, I don't know how many years, maybe 30 straight, no breaks, every day for maybe 30 years, maybe 25. I don't know, I wasn't counting. And it was a sudden break when I stopped, but that's another subject for another day. But what I was thinking is, oh my God, my mind holds only what I think with God. That's so pure. It's so beautiful. And for the mind of a person, an individual, a personality, that's work all day long. Because language is dualistic, up and down, good and bad, right and wrong, loving, unloving, on and on. That's our language. But even more important than our language represents our thinking. That's why the language is representative of duality, opposites, two, always two. And that means that we have to choose again all day long. A lot of work. And yet, where is it that we get to? And that's what I'll be coming to later on in my talk. So hang in there. All right. I promised that I would give you my version of what the steps are in this progressive path. Okay, we start out in January where my thoughts mean nothing. There are so many versions of that in the beginning where we learn to see basically that we have stinking thinking, as the 12 steps groups would tell us, and that our perception and our thinking come from the separated self. That's why we're not thinking at all as far as truth in what the Course would tell us. And then the Course has us, first it tells us our thinking is junk, we're not thinking at all. And then it tells us to focus with our local awareness, and that's not what the Course calls it, but I really don't like to use the word awareness as though my awareness is not the meaning of the non-duality of awareness. Awareness is impersonal. Awareness does not belong to a person, but we have that other word, awareness, which means I'm noticing the local judge, the local witness, the local personality that has the ability to watch ourselves. That's called self-observing ego. That's what it is, self-observing ego. And notices that I have mostly attacked thoughts. And my attacked thoughts bring me judgmental stories. And those judgmental stories hurt me as well as you, and probably more me. And they separate me, and they continue the only problem the Course says that I have, which is that belief in separation. So obviously, if I'm judging my life, you, myself, as wrong, and I'm attacking, well, there's more than one, and I'm not in that state of connection. So that's pretty obvious. Course spends a lot of time on that. And then after I have the ability with my self-observing ego to notice that I need to forgive because I've judged, and that's a way of choosing again. And then the Course says something that most of us, including me, never really understood except in some conceptual way, that what I'm judging never happened. So at least in my 30 years of doing this, when I was doing the lessons, I can't say that that was mine. That was something I was reading. I was understanding like a science experiment, but it isn't like I knew that it never happened. And it never happened. Why? Because it's not the real world. The real world, what is the real world? The real world is not this world of separation. And we'll be coming to that real world when we talk about the direct experience. And the Course leads us there. Course says next, not really next, but next in my steps, You were never born and you will never die. Wow. Can't say I understood that one either. I sure knew I was born, I had a date, I had a place, I had a body, I had a personality, I had a family, and that's what was real for me. So fine, the course had poetry. I took it like poetry, a lot of poetry I don't understand. Nice words, sound good. What are they referring to? I'm not sure I know, but I took it like that. And then on lesson 189, my truly favorite lesson, come with holy, empty arms. Forget this course. Forget everything. Come with holy, empty arms. Empty, empty, empty. Not filled, not the thoughts of God, not the feelings of this and that. Empty, empty, empty. So it brings us to what could the direct path mean? Now, I had a dear friend ask me in class last week, what does direct mean? What's another word for direct? Of course, she's a highly intelligent person and knew what the word in English meant, but she wanted some liveliness. She wanted actually I assume her own experience. And that's what direct means to me. So I want to give you some synonyms that I came up with. They're not exactly synonyms, some of them are, but I want to share what some words mean for me about the direct path. So non-duality, which of course refers to, but then reaches out to us with helping hands, because the wisdom of the course knows that we weren't there yet. So what does direct mean? It means a knowing. What does knowing mean? Well, the best way I think there is to describe this experience, and it is an experience. It's not a thinking, it's not a feeling, it's actually the absence of those. I think the direct experience is the bliss of that void. And I think the reason people call it causeless joy or the happiness we've always been seeking, because we're stuck with words. And those are the best words we can come up with for the absence of suffering. So we're calling the absence of suffering happiness. But let's go back to, what does knowing mean? Knowing means just like you know you're alive. You can't prove it. You could say, well, I'm breathing, that shows I'm alive, but you didn't need that. You didn't need to prove your breath to prove you were alive. You just know it. It's direct. It's complete. You don't need a teacher to tell you you're alive. You don't need your parent to tell you you're alive. You don't need a book to tell you you're alive. You just know it. And that's the best definition of the direct path. And the other, I think, really helpful set of words is to point us to the nothingness, because we're looking for something. We're so used to the world of objects of experience, meaning feelings, thoughts, perceptions, sensations, stories, experiences of highs and lows. We're looking for something. When someone tells us about this happiness or the lack of suffering, we're looking for the lights going on. But it can be a transmission of light, but the light ends up being in the light, if you will. It's neither lighting up anything or being lit. It's the light is everything. It's like the silence is everything. The nothingness is everything. So when you're in nature, if nature is your thing, it's just all around experience. It's not this flower. Yes, you might notice, oh, look, that's in bloom. But your experience is total. It's a whole experience. So it's not the experience of being dark and then being lit. Now we have fireworks. No, it's just not dark. But yet it's not bright like being in the sunshine. However, I think nothingness, looking for nothing, is one of the best guides, best hands out. Because when we are looking not to have light or peace or happiness or joy, we're looking things for an experience of emptiness. We're allowing everything to drop away. Our highs, our experiences, the light, the happiness, the joy. We're not looking for anything. We're allowing more and more relaxation, if you will, more behind or before you were born and after you die. It's that quantum field that's energy that can't be seen. It's not solid. It can't be touched, but it can be experienced. But not the wowies. Wowies, wrong. Wrong place to look. If you got the wowies, like the laughter of seeing it's always been here, or my awakening when the suffering, when with Melissa, all of a sudden stopped. Yeah, that was a wowie moment. But I can't live off of that. What I can live off of is the teaching that suffering need not be. That behind, underneath the suffering, underneath the thoughts of past and future, that's where the self that's not a person exists. And there need be no concerns about reincarnation. Because who is it that would be reincarnated? So let's have a few more words that are on my list in case they are a helpful prompt to somebody. And then let's have a few moments of our own direct experience of the nothingness. So, on my list is that the thinking polarity is gone. You notice if nature is your thing. Sometimes you keep thinking, but you're not attached to the thinking. So you might as well have had the thinking stop because the thinking is just going by. And that's what we do in non-duality. We're not concerned at all with thoughts because they're not a person thinking them. Thoughts happen. They're just part of the living experience in a body. And that's all they mean. We do have to live in a world where we're in relationship and with other people. And so our thoughts in that arena, of course, count. So we step in and through and out, but making them not the real world, making them, that's the stage in which I get to play. And I do my very best in that play to be my best person, to choose again. But I can come with the knowingness that I am Roslyn, the God self in personhood, in the look-alike as a person. But I am what you are. We are all emanations, embodiments of the one. And we don't need an intermediary. That is what the direct experience means. We can have our direct experience. We don't need an altar, a Holy Spirit, help. We don't need help because we are already whole. We are already complete. We are already what God is. And our imprint is exactly what it's supposed to be in this moment, in time and place, stage. So any more words? So we had knowing. We can have a silent transmission. And the direct experience is that verification in our own experience has happened. Confirmation has happened. Do you notice it's the passive tense? I'm using passive language to describe the direct experience. The transmission of the light has happened. Proof has happened. The oneness experience has happened. The mystical experience of nothingness that is everything has happened. And it takes us to the beginning of the course where our thoughts and our thinking mean nothing. And it takes us to the end of the course where we will be led because there is only the one. This holy instant would I give you. There's only one. Be you in charge. There's only one. For I would follow. There's only one. Certain, certain, certain. We have certainty in the direct experience. Certain that your direction is my direction. There is only one direction. Certain that our direction brings me peace, the peace that passes all understanding. And so we just have a few minutes. Let's take a deep breath and go to that place my voice can take you, because I will lead you there in this second, because I'm there and I am you and you are I. There is no place inside your body and outside your body that we have a boundary. There are no limits. There are no edges. There are only apparent distinctions between us. We are the life. We are the love. We are the one. And I thank you for joining me today in that place that passes all visual, that passes all definition, that place that passes all separation, where we abide together, where we will establish ourselves from this moment on. From that direct experience, we will claim it. We do claim it. We claim it now as our experience that we return to if we should forget. And we all say amen to that experience of togetherness. Bye for today.